best I can tell, the world's gone to hell. We're sure gonna miss it a lot. All of the pussy in Lynchburg.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Kate Daly Show. It's live on a Monday, 2 weeks to the election, and of course, a lot to talk about, even more so than the election, actually. But we're talking about voting. We're talking about the Constitution. And my guest in this hour is Noel Fritsch, and National File is the website. He's been on many, many shows, and I think you were just weren't you just on the War Room recently?
I was on there back with Steve right before he had
Right.
to report to the federal prison.
Doesn't he get out soon?
He's supposed to, but they
Yeah.
just put out a release that he's not going to. We have that up on our Twitter on Friday. I think I put it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not good. They're going to try to keep him put away.
So welcome back, KateDalyRadio.com. And of course, let's talk more about the Electoral College, because January 6th was the cover up so that people would never not be talking about reading the double slated rolls for the Electoral College, because everybody was noticing the fraud involved. And so there were double rolls, and the swing state double rolls did not get read by Pence. And so we had this whole situation go down. And then January 6th was the focus, right? The made up focus of that, with lots of Fed agents, as you know, because you were outing some of the Fed agents involved. And so the talk about what happens with the Electoral College kind of remained on a mute button. And so the nation hasn't even hardly talked about that. You'll never see it brought up in the press. The constitutionality of what the legislature is supposed to do. Do you want to explain that again?
You're spot on with. So look, on January the 6th, what you had was a joint session of Congress, and the whole thing was what they're supposed to do is, of course, convene and decide if they want to accept electors from all of these other states like Rhode Island or New York or Illinois or what have you. And so that is the whole purpose of a federal 50-state election. It's not just one election. It's 50 different elections. And that's the whole point of the Electoral College as it was constructed by the founders, so that New York and Rhode Island and Massachusetts and Pennsylvania could not gang up on Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina and Virginia. That's literally the whole purpose of the thing. And, Mike Pence cared so much about it that he planned to be on vacation. He literally was planning to be out of the country.
Yeah.
And our reporting actually forced him to cancel his vacation and come back from the Mediterranean and come back to the United States to actually do his job. And the resulting insurrection narrative that you've heard for 4 years almost now is entirely designed, as you just so rightly put, to cover up the civics lesson that our powers that be do not want our American populace to learn. And that is that 50 states election. And so now here we are, we have another one. And here we are, we still have a whole bunch of states using these bogus machines with closed source code software connected to internets. And we're already hearing reports this election cycle here of votes being switched as they are cast in real time. In Georgia, we have a report up on National File. You don't even need the encryption codes to get into the Dominion software to change the outcome of the elections. And but Kemp and Raffensperger are, continuing apace, pretending like they're presiding over free and fair elections.
Right.
And they, of course, are not. And so now nowhere is this whole concept of bad elections, more poignant than in North Carolina, where you have, our governor says it's 100 people dead, but there's all kinds of media reports that say it's at least 600 people dead in North Carolina. And then we have reports, and I can't give sourcing yet or numbers, but it's going to be over 1,000. It could be 2,000 people dead, more like a 9/11 style catastrophe here in Western North Carolina.
Katrina was 1,392. And it'll be more. I think it'll be way more than that. I think it'll be more than Katrina. But Katrina will get all the press for being that bad. But this one isn't getting the press. Why?
And I'm just going to say it. It's because the people who are dying are white. That's it. They're not. Well, there's not a grievance industrial complex that's going to surround Western North Carolina. And as Axelrod said, their Democrat voters are going to go vote, and and they're also happy to have the Trump voters, die in a mud slide.
No, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said it out loud, because that's the truth. And I think there's even more to it than that. I think it's the demonization has begun of people that step in to help, so that we have to stand there and watch people suffer in major weather warfare, which I think that was. But we're going to come right back more with Noel Fritsch from National File, the editor of National File. I'll be right back. Kate Daly Show and Dr. Pesta coming up in the next hour. Be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Kate Daly Show.
Hold on one second. Oh, this computer's driving me crazy today. It's lagging, and for